This is your slide lecture for chapters 5 and 6 on musical texture and musical form. Texture refers to the way melodic lines are combined with harmony in music. The simplest texture is monophony, which is a single melodic line without accompaniment. Mono means one, phonic means sound. Therefore, the literal definition of monophonic is one sound. Until about 1,000 years ago, all known Western music sources were monophonic. This Gregorian chant is an example of monophonic texture. Even though more than one man is singing, it is still monophonic since they are all singing the same melody, or singing in unison. Polyphony literally means many-voiced texture. In polyphony, two or more melodic lines of equal interest and importance are combined. Two types of polyphony are non-imitative and imitative. Non-imitative polyphony is the combination of two or more distinctly different melodic lines simultaneously. In imitative polyphony, a melodic idea is presented in one voice, then restated in the others in succession. During the restatement, the original voice continues with new material. This example is a polyphonic motet from the Renaissance. Each voice enters in imitative polyphony. Can you hear the imitated entrances for each section of singers? When the imitation is strict and lasts for an entire work, this is called a canon. One common type of canon is a round. In a round, each voice enters in succession with the same melody, which may then be repeated endlessly. Well-known examples of rounds are Row, Row, Row Your Boat and Frere Jacques. Homophony is a texture that is commonly found in both traditional and popular styles of music. Homophony has a single melodic line that naturally draws your attention. All of the other parts provide accompaniment or simply a background of harmony. The easiest way to hear homophonic texture is in folk music, or any music where a single singer is accompanied by instruments playing chords. This famous song by the Beatles is an excellent example of homophonic texture. Sometimes the texture changes from one type to another within a single work. For instance, a piece might start off with a monophonic texture and change to a homophonic one. Heterophony is a texture often found in folk music, jazz, gospel, and music outside of the Western culture, when improvisation occurs in the performance. In heterophony, two or more melodic lines, or voices, that occur simultaneously are an elaboration of the same melody. Chapter 6. Musical Form. Form refers to the structure or shape of a musical work. It is the big picture of music, especially music without text. Will the piece be in 2 large sections, 3 large sections, or be more complex? These are just some of the questions composers confront when determining musical form. Musical form may be determined by taking notice of the instances of repeating or contrasting sections within a movement. Variation is another principle of form, in addition to repetition and contrast, where some aspects of the music are altered, but the original is still recognizable. In improvisation, pieces are created simultaneously in performance. The performers rely on the 3 main principles of form, repetition, contrast, and variation in order to create a cohesive structure. During the 1600s, improvisation at the keyboard was very common. Handel's Keyboard Suite No. 5 is a piece that contains many opportunities for improvisation. Strophic form is a very standard song form used with music that has text. The music remains the same for each stanza of words that are sung. Christmas carols and many pop and folk tunes use this form. 2- and 3-part forms are important structural patterns found in all music, but are especially important to instrumental music, since there are no words to aid in unifying a piece. 2-part form, known as binary form, is based on a statement. The second part of the form is a contrasting departure from that statement. This can be indicated in letters with the first section being A, and the following contrasting section as B, or A-B form. 3-part form, known as ternary form, is based upon a statement. A contrasting departure follows, and then the original statement returns. This is labeled A, B, A. A theme is a melodic idea that is used in the construction of a larger musical work. Thematic development is an expansion of a theme by varying its rhythm, outline, or harmony. This device is used in larger musical works. Thematic transformation occurs when these same aspects of a theme are altered in such a way that although it is recognizable, the character is completely different. One example of this is Berlioz's Symphonie Fantastique, where the theme of his beloved is gradually changed from a noble and reserved character in the first movement to one that is vulgar and grotesque by the last movement. We will spend some time with this important piece of music later in the term. A motive is the smallest fragment of a theme that forms a melodic unit. Motives may also be repeated in sequence, for example at higher or lower pitch levels after their original statement. Beethoven's famous Symphony No. 5 is built out of a well-known 4-note motive. When a musical idea is restated at a higher or lower pitch level, the restatement is called a sequence. Tchaikovsky's Trepak from his Nutcracker Ballet opens with a sequence. One common form in music is call and response, which is based on the principle of repetition. It is also known as responsorial music. In this style of performance, a song leader is imitated by a chorus of followers. Ostinato is another widely used structural procedure. It is a short musical pattern, either melodic, rhythmic, or harmonic, that is repeated throughout a work, or at least a large section of the composition. In general, the structure of a musical composition may be described as follows. Notes are bound together into a phrase. Phrases form a section. Sections form a movement. A movement is a complete and relatively independent entity that is part of a larger musical work.